Dear colleagues, it is a great pleasure to participate in the first International Ocean Data Conference and present briefly the results of our research dedicated to possibilities of establishing maritime spatial planning for coastal regions in Ukraine. Research performed in co-authorship with my colleagues Professor Yurii Tuchkovenko from Odessa State Ecological University and Sofiia Zherebchuk from Ukrainian National Hub of the Black Sea Assistance Mechanism for Common Maritime Agenda for the Black Sea. Over the last 15 years, paradigm of maritime spatial planning has undergone significant changes from mechanism of marine protected areas management towards integrated planning and management of maritime space to provide sustainable development of marine areas and use of marine resources. The idea of maritime spatial planning was originally born as a response on the needs of management of the marine protected areas in the Great Barrier Reef, focused on preservation of nature resources. Recently, the main stakeholders began to pay more attention to set sophisticated approaches to coordination and of different activities in marine areas, especially in the areas where interests of users and the environmental protectors have to be balanced, such as in the North Sea. Setting the MPS and practicing marine spatial planning was mainly a tailor-made process until the European Commission over the last years began setting the legislative framework for establishing the multifunctional spatial plans for all sea basins around Europe. The Black Sea is enormously valuable from different perspectives. Such spheres as tourism, fishing, transport, renewable energy generation have given great opportunities for trans-regional cooperation and synergy. But there are wide-ranging differences between the Black Sea countries: economic development, governance, democracy and human rights protection, and their relations with the EU. Some of them are the EU member states and others are not, which cause the complex of political and legislative differences. In addition, after Russian annexation of Ukrainian Crimea in 2014, its territory and exclusive economic zone around Crimea is claimed by Russia, and all official activities on this area trigger official protest of Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We tried to estimate perspectives and connected challenges of MSP establishing for Ukrainian Black Sea maritime area. Obviously, EU legislative regulation and support instruments of MSP establishing are not fully relevant for non-EU countries, in particular for Ukraine. In the Ukrainian case, it happens because in 2014, when agreement on association of Ukraine to EU was being prepared, directive of the European Parliament on establishing a framework for maritime spatial planning has not been included to the list of EU directives obligatory for Ukraine. In addition, there is no special legislation in Ukraine dedicated to integration of policies and obligatory coordination of activities in such spheres as maritime transport, renewable power generation at sea, fisheries, raw material extraction, with the scope of sustainable development of marine areas and use of marine resources. State regulation and policy making in Ukraine in these spheres is highly centralized on national level and split between 4 different ministries. Meanwhile, there is no authority between them in charge for establishment of MSP in Ukrainian Black Sea space. Thus, regional authorities has more abilities and mandate in terms and small-medium business support and implementation of local environmental protection-oriented projects. Taking into account such misbalance between the central executive bodies and local authorities in Ukraine, it is considered as inappropriate to start moving towards establishing MSP on the regional level, focusing on eco-based approach and supporting development of concerned regional think tanks as collectors and disseminators of MSP-related trend information. On the national level, at this stage, it is recommended to support capacity building and raising awareness on the level of central executive authorities towards elaboration of national legislative base and adopted methodology of establishing maritime special plans. Thank you very much for your attention.